Hi everybody, this is Father Warner D'Souza once again with you, and now we're reflecting on the Gospel text of Luke chapter 14 verses 1 to 6. This text of Luke chapter 14 1 to 6 is unique to Luke and is the final Lucan controversy to take place regarding the Sabbath. Once again, Jesus shows himself as the Lord of the Sabbath, as we saw in Luke chapter 6 verse 5, who champions works of compassion on the Sabbath. A prominent Pharisee asked Jesus to eat at his home. A number of things took place at this table, but none of them were very pleasant. It ended up being a sour mealtime conversation, and all in all, it was a most unpleasant occasion. Meals often feature in Jesus' parables and in the key moments of his public life. Jesus is at a meal in Cana with Martha and Mary. He's at a meal at the meeting with Magdalene, and then again at a meal at the Last Supper, to name just a few. Essentially, this was one long meal, a dinner party of the elite, which Luke recorded in chapter 14 verse 1 and goes all the way down to verse 24. It is a meal at which the Pharisees live out their dinner protocols, their values, their pecking order, as we see will happen in the next pericope that we study. Once again, it appears that the Pharisees had a motive in inviting Jesus. They put Jesus at the center so that they could scrutinize him. Jesus does not seem to be invited for the hospitality of it, but for the hostility of it. We are told that they were watching him, but as verse 7 will tell us, he was watching them. In verse 2, we are told that there in front of him was a man suffering from dropsy. This was such an elite gathering, so how could a man suffering from dropsy simply find his way in such a gathering in front of Jesus? He certainly does not fit into the guest list. He was almost certainly brought in front of Jesus by the Pharisees as an opportunity to trap Jesus, yet Jesus saw a hurting man in need of help. It is our misery that calls forth God's mercy. Many times, we see hurting people as an interruption or a burden. But Jesus sees them with a heart of compassion. Jesus saw the man, and he wants us to see him and every suffering man or woman. The man, we are told, was suffering from dropsy, also called edema. This is a very painful condition by which the tissues fill with water and is caused because of kidney trouble or a heart ailment or liver disease. So Jesus asked them, these learned Pharisees, a question. In fact, he asked them two questions. The first question was a matter of principle. The second was a matter of practice. In return, Jesus is met with silence, a silence of sullen willfulness. With regard to the question on the matter of principle, if they responded, it is lawful to heal on the Sabbath, then they wouldn't have a problem with this man being healed. But if they responded, it is not lawful to heal on the Sabbath, then before this man with dropsy and others, they would be revealed as hard-hearted, callous snakes that they really were. So, they are silent. There was no willingness to discuss the matter, neither is there any intention of acknowledging their hypocrisy. Silence is a passive form of rebellion, but it is rebellion nonetheless. Jesus now asks them the second question. This one is a matter of practice. If their son or animal fell into a ditch on the Sabbath, would they pull it out? The answer was obvious, for they would do exactly what they were not willing to admit to. Besides, the law of Moses did not forbid healing on the Sabbath and also made provisions for an animal in need. How could they not see the greater value of a man in need? The problem was that the Pharisees had allowed regulations and propriety to take over. They had become institutionalized. Jesus showed them that they had lost sight of the dignity of the people they claimed to lead. Even in Jesus' time, it seems that there were those who cared more for animals than they did for their brothers and sisters. How in the world could they think that God would make allowances for this kind of treatment of a domestic animal that they had come to care for in their distress on the Sabbath day, and that He wouldn't care about human beings created in the image of God? You see, that day there were two unanswered questions of Jesus, and the meal has just begun. This meal was most certainly not going to be a time of friendly conversation and warm hospitality. It was a time of silent treachery and of self-seeking on the part of those Pharisees who were present. It was also a time of rebuke and sober warning from the lips of our Lord. It was not going to be a pleasant meal. For Jesus, the table is not only the place we say grace, but the place we define grace by the way we see others and include others. Jesus saw the man with dropsy, and He wants us to see that man too. Thank you for being part of these reflections, and if you really love them, do subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. Do also join us for Mass, which we celebrate live in India, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, every day from Monday to Saturday, and also for the 9 a.m. Mass on Sunday morning, all during this pandemic. Thank you, and God bless you.